Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to be doing the new moon reading for the sign of Taurus. Alright, it's the new moon, it's June 3rd, alright, and this is part of my new moon lunar reading series. I also have a full moon lunar reading series, okay, so on the full moon, the day of the full moon, I also will be uploading 12 readings for the 12 zodiac signs to indicate what's happening for them during that full moon month. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. We start off your new moon reading with your animal spirit card, right, which we get out of the Wild Unknown Oracle deck. For my lovely Tauruses out there, how are you doing, Taurus? I'm a Taurus rising myself, so woo-woo. Love you guys. I'm a Sagittarius with a Taurus rising. But, yeah. How you bulls doing out there? How you guys hanging? How's the beginning of your June starting? Right? Beginning of the month. Even though summer isn't until June 23rd, I always feel like the whole month of June is summertime, right? The beginning of summer. Anyway, we're going to get out your animal spirit card. See what kind of animal spirit you're working with during this new moon period. Now, this is a general reading for the new moon period, which is from new moon to new moon, the next 28 days. All right. Energies may persist after that or, you know, follow on from that, but that's the reading that I'm tuning into, the timeline. And new moons are all about beginnings. They're all about sowing the seeds for harvest later on at the full moon. All right. So, Taurus, June 3rd, new moon. What's your animal spirit? What's your animal spirit? All right, Taurus. Your animal spirit for this new moon is the elephant. I love the elephant. I love this card. It's a beautiful card. Wisdom, strength, right? Unstoppable strength. Fire element, funnily enough, right? Carrying that fire in his tusk at the bottom. The jewel of wisdom at the crown of his, at the third eye, actually, right? Beautiful card. Beautiful energy, Taurus. Very you energy. You know, very you energy in a way. Even though you're an earth sign, you have this kind of, you know, I mean, a male elephant is called a bull, right? So you have this kind of formidable energy, this passionate, formidable, unstoppable. But along with that, the elephant signifies deep wisdom, right? Wisdom that is, you know, almost hidden behind those, you know, very kind of virtuous, childlike, almost babyish eyes that are there, right? Which you can hardly see. The ears are so huge and, you know, it's like, you know, what do you think of elephants? They can hear a mouse, right? They can hear anything, right? But they have also, and that kind of harkens to being able to hear messages, spirits, you know, being a sensory perception that is so elevated that it can connect with the spirit realm, right? So also part of its deep wisdom. You know, elephants remember. Their memory is part of their wisdom. You know, their ability to recall past events, past lives. You know, this is all that kind of energy. It's fiery, but it's mystical, it's deep, it's powerful, it's formidable, it's wise, it's very wise. So that's interesting. It's like an unstoppable force, though, is really what I get out of it for the most part, Taurus. So perhaps this is the energy you're going into the new moon with. We're going to find out what you're reading in a minute. I use the Deviant moon deck for my lunar readings, full moon and new moon readings. those of you who are wondering which decks I'm using. All right, Taurus, what's going on for you this June 3rd new moon? What kind of situation are you dealing with? All right. What seeds are you sowing? What beginnings are you trying to manifest? What changes? Taurus, June 3rd, 2019. Show me a clear picture for our lovely Tauruses out there, okay? So they can see reaffirmations, warnings, energies, anything to do with this new moon period of beginnings for our lovely Tauruses, okay? Show me. Alright, so I'm going to pull your cards face down. I usually pull the cards, and then we'll go around and turn them over in turn. Alright, because I like to read the lunar readings like this. It tells a kind of a story that should unfold throughout the month for you, Taurus. The center. Wow. Ten of Swords. And Nine of Wands. Wow. Ten of Swords and Nine of Wands. Interesting. At the bottom of the deck you have Four of Pentacles. Holding on to money. Fear of losing the stability that you have. It can be a fear of losing stability in finances. Sometimes this is the miser card as well. Holding on to money in an unnecessary way, right? Four is a number of stability. It's also a number for patience, holding on, right? So, also, you know, stability in a sense of, you know, sometimes I think of those trees that stand, right, for so long they become petrified. So it can also be that kind of energy as well, this like holding on to money for money's sake, you know, being a slave to money to such a degree that now, you know, you no longer, you know, that's the warning, you know, is that you now no longer realize what money was supposed to, what you were supposed to do with it, right? Your pursuit of making money, instead of to make the money to do the things and finance the things in your life that would elevate you and your experience in life, it's almost like you're just interested in the pursuit of money itself, just the actual attainment of it, and you're not, you know, elevating in any kind of way. You know, look at this character. He's being pulled off to death and still holding on to his coins and looking back at what he's left behind. You know, he's so unwilling to part. This is the person who gets buried with all of their money, you know, doesn't leave anything to anybody else. They'd rather be buried with it. You know what I mean? It's that kind of energy. But at the center of the reading, you have Ten of Wands, Taurus. So it's been a really difficult time for you. You've gone through a lot. Not Ten of Wands. I'm sorry. Ten of Swords. You've gone through a really long battle. This is the same card that in the traditional deck, it's the card with the figure that's laying down and the swords are all impaled, right? So it's a death of the self. Here it's quite interesting in this tarot, in this deck, because he's also kind of crippled in a way by, not even crippled, I don't even want to use that term, but I mean like he's kind of, how shall I say? It's like every way he's hurt here, right? Every way to move, he's unable to move. He's stifled. He's held. He can't. And they're all wounds as well. So not only are they painful, but they're holding him in place. Do you see what I mean? They're kind of, you know, stabbed through every place, right? However, there is one arm here that's not got any sword in it. And that's the free arm that's kind of just laying there limp, unwilling to do what it needs to do, which is simply to pull out, to begin to unravel this by pulling out one sword at a time. So indicative is the message that, you know, you have the ability. Well, let me start first. A lot of your own wounds are, you know, as a result of your own actions, failures, etc. Right? So it's taking responsibility at first for already being in this situation. Then, furthermore, it's taking responsibility for getting out of the situation. You have what you need to get out. You know, you can't keep saying, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. This isn't my fault, right? It's absolutely, part of it is your fault, and you're stuck, and staying in this position is also your fault. Now, Ten of Swords also talks about completion, ending, and starting something new. So there's a realization here, right? You've come a long way, and there is that realization of, okay, you know what? I can free myself from this, but it requires a different way of thinking. It requires me doing something new. It requires me being someone different. Not being the same person that's associated with this decision making that got me here in the first place. And it's sort of a kind of a death, right? It's like a death of the self in a way. You know, the person you are who got yourself in this predicament. And it's the beginning of the next person. At the beginning, the more evolved person. The person who realizes that he has to help himself get out of this situation. So it's a very interesting card. It's a very deep card about realization. There's very deep realization, and it's come at the expense of a lot of heartache and pain. Very real, Can be mental kind of heartache, mental pain, anxiety, depression, right? Anxiety, depression, acting out in ways that are harmful to you and no one else, ultimately lashing out, right? So, but that's what's, brought you to this. However, it's like, it's been a long road. The promise here is that you're moving on to something much better. And look at that, you're covered by the Nine of Wands, which talks about a long journey and a long kind of, look how exhausted that figure looks. She's exhausted. She's sitting there with the last wand, the ninth wand, right? And she has to just but take it and go up the steps. So she's just taking a rest, contemplating, her escape, how will I make it up there, up to the light, which is at the top of the stairs. She's contemplating. She's also just taking a rest. She's exhausted. It's taken a lot to get to where she's at. And she knows she has but just one more flight of stairs to take, and she's just kind of summoning up all the energy and all of the energy, really, the motivate, the will to move, really. She's summoning up the will to move, that last little drop of strength that you need to complete something that's been very difficult. So with these two cards together, Taurus, you've gone through a real difficult time, and no wonder your animal spirit is the elephant, because the elephant has that kind of formidable strength to endure a lot. Notice that one of his tusks is broken. He's endured a lot of pain, to come here to be where he's at, the same as you have. It's very beautiful, actually, in a way. I know it's been hard, but the harder the road, the better. The better the lesson, the deeper the lesson, and the more beautiful the outcome in the end, where you're going to. Nine of Pentacles, establishment, yeah. Underneath of it all, it's a desire, right? This is a desire to be established. Could be this has been a long struggle in your career. You may have faced a lot of obstacles. All you ever wanted was some recognition for your talents. But this desire to be the best and to be recognized for it, which is Nine of Pentacles energy, has spurned you on, right? Now, the warning in the Nine of Pentacles is this. This could also be the case, right, Taurus? Nine of Pentacles is also, this could be where you're aspiring to be, but it could also be where you're at and why you have some of this energy here. Another 9. This is a 9 as well. 9 is the number of isolation. It's the relationship to the self. It's isolation. It's doing things alone. The first 9 is the Hermit. So 9 of Pentacles also talks about having gained a lot of wealth and established yourself, but look at his character is utterly alone. They're alone with their wealth. The city is behind them. They're not in the city, in the streets. They're not surrounded by people or colleagues. They're surrounded by their coins. And so there's definitely also this warning that sometimes the pursuit of wealth and gain and luxuries, right? Sometimes we pursue that, but we pursue that at the expense of connecting with people. We separate ourselves. We get separated. We get separated because of our ideas of who we now are, our status, etc., whatever. There's a lot of reasons. But this pursuit for wealth and money is a lonely pursuit, right? You're not, it's not taking you to a level where you are sharing the wealth, engaging with others. You're making it bring you closer to others. It's kind of like, you know, the billionaire who, again, dies with all his money, you know, but no one else. Here, you know, so that's the warning in this card. But certainly the pursuit of this kind of level of status has been there. And it could actually be, like I said, that the pursuit or the attaining of that status has definitely, you've realized that it's a lot, that it's brought you to this kind of place here where you feel quite alone. You've had a lot of problems, a lot of pains as a result of the type of life kind of path you've taken. And there's a lot of 9 energy, a lot of alone energy, doing it on your own energy. Wheel of Fortune is turning, though. This card just came up for the last reading in Aries. You have an opportunity, big opportunity, a divine opportunity right now to change things. Could be why you're displaying elephant energy again this month, because that's enduring, pressing forward. You definitely have divine opportunities. I'm going to say this in all of my videos so all of my lovely signs can hear it. This is not the wheel of misfortune. It's the wheel of fortune. So when the wheel of fortune comes up, the opportunities are inherently positive. They're inherently fortuitous and bring us good fortune, right? 6. So this is an energy that's turning, spinning around you. It's very much evident. It could be coming forward in messages, meetings, etc., but it's there. Even if you haven't seen it yet, even if you haven't seen the opportunities coming through yet, they're there. So this card is also an admonishment for you to open up your eyes, open up your 3rd chakra, and discern your situations to see if true opportunities are coming your way. You've just come through a short, a little bit of a victory, a little bit of accolades, right? A little bit of, you know, being recognized for your ability, right? You know, 6 of Wands talks about having arrived. You know, having arrived, having taken the journey, made the journey, and now arrived. And it's like, yay, the king is back, you know. You've gone through a lot of strife and turmoil. You've faced the dragon in a sort of way, you know. You've come up with all of this creative ways to vanquish your demons, you know. And here you are, because 6s is the number of journeying or traveling, taking departures and journeys towards harmony, you know, journeys towards a better place than where you've been, right? Movement towards a higher plane. It can mean physical journeys, but it can also mean just accomplishing something. This can also be like when you've gone away for a while, say you've left home or you've left your local city or whatever, and you've come back, and everybody's kind of like, wow, you're back, where you been, what you've been doing, and you are, and you come back proud as well. You come back with a sense of victory, a sense of having accomplished something as well. This is the card for that, right? So you're just coming out of that. It is not a permanent victory, all right? As with all things, it's a victory in battle, not in war. Because wars are not something that can be won. But battles can be won. So this is a battle victory, right? And that's where you're coming from. That's where your energy is coming from right now. But I'm curious why the center of the reading is still this kind of loneliness. It could be that despite you coming back from wherever you are, or having, not either coming back from outside the country or whatever, but just as sort of in a more general sense, having arrived at a certain point in your life where you being recognized, right, for your victories, but yet, and your money, your money that you've attained, and your abundance and wealth, and yet you feel quite alone. And even here, you're kind of on a pedestal and you're kind of separated from the people. Could be that that separation is wearing on you a little bit. Another 9. Wow. Another 9. So here we have 9 of Swords. Heavy anxiety, worrying again. Again talks about, I had the 9 of Swords from the Rider-Waite deck in one of the weekly readings. And the thing with the 9 of Swords is that 9s, again, are about the relationship, like I said, with oneself. Your relationship to yourself, how you see yourself, how you communicate yourself, your relationship with yourself, right? So guilt is part of that. If you hold guilt, if you admit to things, if you lie to yourself, that's all part of your personal relationship with the self. Well, again, 9 of Swords talks about guilt and anxieties, grief. Grief from past, not necessarily worry over anything that's actually happening now, that you have proof of happening now, but more like anxiety because of things that have happened in the past, right? Part of this is also grief and guilt about things that may have happened because of your, because part of the message in this card is your own sense of feeling responsible, your own sense of kind of like deep down inside, you know that you had part hand to do in that experience, right? Which may have been traumatic or very deeply upsetting. You realize somewhere deep down inside that you are partly responsible for that. And now you're being kind of haunted. You're haunted about it happening again. You're haunted about your part in it, right? You're haunted. And I'm not saying this is anything nefarious like you plotted against somebody. This could just be, being in a fucked up relationship, right? That when it broke down, it really hurt you. And now you have a lot of anxieties about getting in new relationships. But when I say that you understand part of it is your fault, you also know that one of the reasons you were in that relationship to begin with was because you perhaps lied to yourself about who that person was, made excuses about who that person was. You know what I'm saying? One of those type of scenarios. And then later on, when you realize that it's this, the situation is a bad situation and perhaps you're out of it now, right? You do still feel bad about, your part in it, why you allowed it to happen. And that is part of a deeper message with this 9 of Swords. That relates back to it being the card of of self-realization and the relationship you have with your own kind of heart and conscience. All right. So that manifests there. Just like here, 9 of Wands is that kind of like, can I do it? Can I make it? I can make it. I can believe in myself. Yes, I do believe in myself. I'm going to, you know what I mean? She's summoning up, having an internal conversation with herself to summon up that energy to go through with that last bit of work she has to do. So it's all about an internal dialogue. Again, yeah, Nine of Pentacles. It's all about that, well, I need to make this money anyway, and, I really don't need those people. I don't need those people. Again, that sort of self kind of, I almost want to say Fight Club energy. You know what I mean? Where you almost, you peel part of yourself away and talk to yourself, that proverbial soul mirror where you're trying to, like, you're either honest with yourself or you're bullshitting yourself. You know what I mean? At the very top of it, there's been some abandonment, right? So somebody's caused you some money troubles, but in a way that's really hurt you. This can be cutting you out of projects, cutting you out of jobs. You just, because it's Five of Pentacles, it talks about abandonment, ousting, but on a financially, where it hurts you financially, right? So where the ousting or the separation, the abandonment, the backstabbing has affected you on a financial level, on a physical, material level, on a very concrete level. You know what I mean? And so this can be also, from past relationships. This is something that can come out of, like, I want to say a cup's energy, right? So it can come out of a love relationship, but the effect is financial. So for instance, when you break up with somebody and, they kick you out, or you get kicked out, or you realize that you guys have to separate, and now you're in a much worse situation financially, and part of that feeling is a feeling of abandonment. You feel like they stabbed you in the back. How could they break up with you now and leave you in this situation like this? So, it's like the physical the physical outcome, right, of the separation or the abandonment hurts emotionally as well, right? But it was the kind of physical change, the material change that occurred. That was the occurrence. And then, deeper than that, it's like, oh man, how could they do that to me? That's where the pain comes in from the abandonment. So that's up at the very top. While these are the underlying emotions, the emotions that kind of like urge you on, right, on a very subconscious level, these are the very conscious emotions that you have, the thoughts that you have. You're probably thinking a lot about that. It could be somebody's really wronged you, right, in your career in some kind of way. That could be also why you're feeling this Ten of Swords, because, you're dealing with this energy right now where you've been kind of like kicked out, abandoned, I want to say, like almost fired from something that you were really deeply passionate about, and now you're in this really stuck situation. You're feeling like, oh God, I'm going to have to push through this now. I think you have what it takes to do that. It may have been a bit of surprise as well, because you were probably just coming off of a recent victory where you're feeling quite good. Right? But then there were the anxieties there, and then boom, sure enough, this shit happens. This may not have happened yet, but you're like in the throes of it, right? This new moon month of June, it's like this is the throes of it. It may be something that you were worried about before happening. That's the anxiety that was there before. But you need strength, exactly. So the strength card has come up. This is the Leo card. Yeah, so this is you, you realize that you need to go inside. You need to go inside and temper yourself in a way. Take time to think about what you're doing, how you're going to move forward. The elephant is very, it's fire energy, but he's very thoughtful, calm, he really plans out his moves, right? So strength here is talking about the strength to realize where your limitations are, where your strengths are, not just lashing out, but taking a moment to very, very maturely like look within and say, okay, what of this situation can I handle? What of this can't I handle? What do I need help with from somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? Because Leo, the Leo strength card is really all about that, testing your limits. So it's kind of a call, you know, it's kind of a call to you, Taurus, right? To sit yourself down and realize in a way, you know, what about your sort of strengths and weaknesses, right? So what, if you take an honest look at them, what about them have led you to this kind of situation here where you felt quite alone and pulled away from people? I think you're dealing with that, right, this month. This new month, a lot of these emotions are coming up. To deal with these emotions, you certainly will need a lot of strength, right? Literally. Could also be, since this is the Leo card, could also be someone that's very close to you who's a Leo, who may be able to help you going through this process, because this is certainly a painful process with all of these nines and swords and wands. It is painful. Ace of Wands is here though, so there's this inspiration, there's hope for a new beginning. You know, a passionate new beginning. It may be that you're just coming out of this very toxic situation, certainly with other people at the helm of it all. Not all, but a lot of it. And you're coming out of this with the use of your inner strength, with the support of the Wheel of Fortune down here. And you're going to manifest yourself a new beginning that's beautiful, that's very creative. That's your new beginning. That's going to make sure that you're not at the mercy of someone else, or someone else calling the shots for you. I don't see this necessarily as a love reading. I feel like this is a life reading about you and how you fit into the world around you and your social circle. I believe that this has come on the hands of people who are not someone you're necessarily involved with romantically, but perhaps people you work with, your friends, your social scene. Ace of Swords, also new beginning. So a lot of new beginnings, a lot of divine new beginnings coming through, especially, again, with that Wheel of Fortune, right? So Ace of Swords is also a new job, a new idea, a new vision, right? A victory, a communication coming in, the completion of could be the completion of a legal issue that you've been waiting, right, finally to come to a close. Could be that a lot of this anxiety has been because you've been waiting for the close of something legally happening or something. There's no judgment card or justice card anywhere. However, it just could be that all of this is finally, you know, this could be a scenario where you're dealing with like second family, step families, ex-wives, ex-husbands. So there's no romance necessarily involved, but there's definitely power struggles. All right, because swords and wands are about creativity and communication, but the angst in the cards, which you don't see in the cups and pentacles, are about power struggles in that. The power struggle in creative energy, the power struggle in communication. Those areas are where we have, you know, that struggle, that, you know, that back and forth, dominant, you know, submissive, you know what I mean? That whole interplay, the yin and yang, all of that chaos and order is inherent in the swords and wands suits. So all of this kind of, you know, it could be that you're going to be getting this message coming in for a victory. That's going to make you feel like you were right, you were vindicated, you were right to put the work in. Some of it may have been painful, some of it may have been unnecessary, but in the end it was all necessary to get to a completion. Nines is necessary to get to tens. And although you've been feeling very alone, I do believe that this Ace of Swords will make you feel as though it was all worth it. Whatever communication that is. Let's get some clarity in. We are at 34 minutes. I'm going to try to make it not too long. Give me some clarity on this reading for our lovely Tauruses. What What are they dealing with? What are they getting out of? Before and after, they're showing signs of victory and new beginnings, but in between, a lot of the energies is showing sleepless nights and anxiety. So give me a clear clarification on this for Taurus, June 3rd. The new moon reading, the new beginnings in their lives. And I love it that you have for new moon reading, which is all about new beginnings, you have 2 ace cards here, which is gorgeous. So this is certainly a time of new beginnings for you, Taurus. Show me. Show me. All right, here we go. Yep. 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Swords. The Tower with that Wheel of Fortune, the Fool. Interesting. Magician. Wow. Hierophant. 7 of Wands, Valor. Knight of Wands coming in. And 10 of Pentacles. Beautiful. At the bottom of the deck is Princess of Discs. So you know the work that you have to put in, right? You know how much work you have to put in for these new beginnings. Princess of Discs definitely talks about that. Knowing that the work is required. Okay? However, this is great. I love these clarity cards. All right? So, yeah, down here, 9 of Pentacles. Peace. Right? 2 of Swords talks about balance, calm, patience, peace, right? So, 9 of Pentacles, to where I said, you know, 9 of Pentacles, even though there is a warning in it in terms of being separated from others by your finances, but ultimately it is the attaining of status and wealth, and you're making peace with that, I believe. You know, I believe that part of a lot of this change is certainly this change, like I said, the 10 of Swords is the death of the old you. You must now evolve. You must ascend to a new level of you, a more matured, evolved you as a result of this. This is completion, right? So part of that understanding and wisdom is making peace here. Where 9s perhaps have isolated you from others. You know, perhaps you have been somewhat isolated in your status attainment. 2 of Swords talks about going in deeply and realizing that, you know, they aren't mutually exclusive, that you can have both. Right? You don't have to make a choice. You can make peace with both. A lot of times 2 of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck is the woman sitting there blindfolded and holding the 2 swords. A lot of people believe it's about choice. And it can be about making a choice, or the process of trying to make a decision where all factors are on the surface equal. Sometimes also the card is indicative of not making a choice at all, but realizing that you can have both. If you make peace with both aspects, you can have close relationships and your status. And that's part of changing. That's part of evolving and growing up. Making peace with those areas in your life. Again, 2 as well as coming together, right? It's the first card of union. So coming out of an isolated, lonely, kind of inherently lonely energy to union. And making peace with that. This is growth, progressive growth. And this is part of the growth that you're going through this month, Taurus. Here's your Tower moment. This is all part of a Tower moment for you, a change. That 10 of Swords in the center talked about what kind of change it is, but here with the Tower moment, it's showing you how devastating and thorough the change will be. It will change your whole life. It will take you out of everything that you're used to, that you've been used to recently, and change your whole life for the better, crossing the Wheel of Fortune. This is a change for the better, Taurus. This is upheaval. This is a complete wiping away, but it is only so that what comes afterward is just so beautiful. Yeah, you've come back on a victory. The Fool card is there. I believe some of this might be resonating definitely with some of you who have been away from where you're, your hometown. You're back home now, but you've been away for a while. And you've been off, perhaps traveling, studying, working, whatever it is you've been doing. It's been quite an adventure for you here by the Fool, right? Perhaps there were people who thought you were a fool for going on that adventure. Perhaps there may have been some people in your life that took a leap of faith with you and helped you finance this. But now you've come back, right? You've come back from this adventure, and it's like you're just you're the toast of the town, Taurus. Everybody wants to know about you. And I think part of this coming back is part of this tower moment you're having where everything is kind of changing. You're realizing you certainly would have learned something from this travel, because sixes talks about travel towards harmony. So coming back or coming home towards harmony, or after a period of being away, it's a positive thing. So what it certainly will always indicate that you've learned something. And so now coming back, it can be that you've been back for some time and you're realizing or associating some of your old anxieties, right, with now being back home. This could be happening for some of you Tauruses as well. Could be finishing up some old art disputes that you haven't had a chance to complete before you left. You may be coming back to finish, I don't want to say settle old scores, but to rectify old problems or old disputes, to come to some kind of resolution, to resolve things. Maybe not necessarily or maybe to reconcile. But you have over this Nine of Swords, you have the Magician in complete balance. So you have the energy, you have everything you need to bring yourself out of this depressive, anxiety-ridden Nine of Swords state. You just have to live in the moment and be present. Right? You have what you need. Don't allow yourself to wallow in it, Taurus. Right? Realize, take responsibility for whatever it is you feel you've done. Just take responsibility for that, and everything else, just lay it to the side and move forward, because this is just anxiety, this card. It really is. And this Magician coming out is just proof that, in a way, to me, it's proof, and it clarifies that this is not what's really going on. This is not who you really are. This is fear and doubt. But who you really are right now is the Magician in balance. You're coming back. If you were at a place before that you may have thought you were weak, you are no longer. So don't let those fears kind of like come back. Okay? Again, I keep feeling like you're coming back to an environment or social area, culture, whatever, home, whatever, that is kind of digging up all of these issues. Therein lies the elephant energy, who remembers. Remember, I said before, the elephant has a long memory. And it can be that you've come back and some of these are old memories that are being dredged up. And now that you've come back, you're having the tower moment that was always meant to happen once you did return to this, environment, group, or whatever social interaction that you're having. Could be a family setting, could be coming back home, could be coming back to a certain group of friends, whatever. Okay. At the top, interestingly enough, this abandonment is covered with the Hierophant. Yeah, you had a lot of commitment. There's a lot of commitment there. It's very serious. It was something you very much believed in. And now that this Five of Wands has come, I think part of it is that it's made you reevaluate everything you held true as well. The flip side of the Hierophant is that there's commitment, but there's also the question of what are you committed to? You can be committed, but what are you committed to? Don't don't confuse the two. Sometimes people refuse to change their commitments because of the nature of commitment, because they want to prove I'm committed. I hold true to my beliefs, right? But they don't take the moment or the time to reevaluate what those beliefs are and if they should still be committed to them in the first place. So sometimes this kind of ousting that can have such a detrimental effect on you. And it's certainly the ousting of something that you held very dear. Could be a church, but just the fact that it always is representative by a church, it just shows you that it was like an abandonment by somebody or someone, a group or a person or institution that you held very, very dear and that you held high in high esteem. And so this abandonment is also making you really question why you even held them in that high esteem to begin with. Making you reevaluate a lot of things that you held to be true and that you were committed to. Valor is here along with strength. Valor is Mars and Leo. Strength is the Leo card. So a lot of Leo energy here. A lot of Leo energy. Could be, like I said, you're dealing with a Leo. Now, I don't say that just because it's a wands, and normally it's, wands or any fire sign. I'm saying that because this strength is the Leo card, and the 7 in wands is Mars in Leo energy, so it's specific to Leo. And valor talks about persevering, pushing through. 7s is realizing your vision, your dreams. You're working for your dreams. You're pushing through for your dreams, right? You're not willing to be slowed down by this anxiety. The Magician is out to reaffirm that, yes, you don't need to be. Even here, you're getting the reaffirmation that you don't need to be stuck. You have the strength to get out of your situation. Here is your reaffirmation that you're making peace and understanding that you can have love and relationships and abundance, right? So this is all very positive. You're working towards a victory, completion. You're working towards wholeness, and you just have to persevere. Persevere, be brave, persevere, keep going. Have not only commitment, but belief. Have faith in what you're doing. Have faith in your own strength, because it will get you through kind of like this last little burning off of bad karma or negative so-called karma. Ace of Wands, this new beginning, it's got a Knight of Wands coming in. Beautiful. So see this Ace of Wands, I almost see this as you, Aries, holding the new idea, the new baby, the new relationship. Knight of Wands, somebody's coming after you, fiery. Someone's coming into you very, very fiery, very passionate. Could be a lover coming in for you, a person. Someone has a lot of passion about you and they're coming towards you this month. Certainly later on in the month, probably, at least, if not earlier. I think you're going to be ready for it. I think by that point you will have dealt with a lot of this, because you got valor right behind you here. All right. And then here, of course, you've got Ace of Swords, like I said. You're getting a victory coming in with the 10 of Pentacles. Wealth, abundance. This message is going to come in. It's going to make you feel vindicated. Not only that, along with it, it's going to come some money, perhaps. Maybe a settlement, right? Maybe an increase in disposable income for some reason, increase in status, increase in your career. Maybe that your career was being attacked, and now that it's being settled, the issue is being settled, you're being proven victorious, and now your whole money game is going to step up all over again. Interesting reading, Taurus. I'm going to call it there. This is the new moon reading for Taurus, June 3rd. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it resonated with you at all, please, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get notified on all my videos. If this didn't resonate with you, that's fine too. Just throw it away. Take a look at my channels page for other readers. Leave me comments. I love the comments. I love to respond to them. Any questions or, issues or things you would like to see me read upon later, there you go. Just sound off below. Those of you who want to do schedule a private reading with me, it's been made really easy. All you have to do is go to my header and click the button, or look in the description. There's also a link for you to be able to schedule same-day readings. All right? But for now, I love you, Taurus, so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful new moon month. Bye-bye.